emerge down in here. The one closest to us would be Deer Creek, and the one farthest away is the Cosumnes. But the lines between them become really murky once you get down toward Wilton and certainly down here toward 99. But yeah, the tree lines give you an idea where the river is supposed to be, but it's all pretty obscured right now. And so yeah, there's the part of 99 that has a lot of water around it. And yes, that's Dillard that goes right there. Yeah, that's you're zooming in on Dillard. So actually, it does look as though the water might be a little bit lower. I mean, you guys had the different perspective earlier. Do you think it's slightly lower than it was before? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to be slow to recede. Yeah, so, yeah. All the big rigs left, so all the cars are still left behind. So the big rigs managed to get through. And so, yeah, it's a relatively short distance on 99 that's closed, but it's certainly a low spot. Wow. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. And as I look down toward Dillard, you can see more of it than you could earlier. The water, yeah, so it's receding, but it's not going to go down in a hurry. You can just see how it spreads out down here, and it's just flowing. It's just finding its own way. I don't know. Yeah. So as we're looking out Dillard here, you can see it goes under in a couple of different areas, and the river's supposed to be on the north side, and here it is just spread out around that home and around these cars. And yeah, you can just see how, a car might be coming out Highway 90 or down Dillard and just trying to get to Highway 99 and just drives into this. Wow. Wow. So you wonder if any cars get, washed off the road. And you see the, JB, do you see the little islands that are behind the house here? Little green spots? So yeah, come a little bit more. Yeah, those little islands right there. So when I was talking to the Cosumnes Fire earlier, they said that the people in the back of that flatbed they'd been swept off, and they found some dry spots. And it's probably something like that they were standing on, or maybe they were clinging to a stump of a tree or something like that. But it's just these little higher spots that some of those people had to be rescued off of by the helicopter in the middle of the night, or actually in the very early morning hours. Yeah, and then as you look at the cars on 99, I mean, this is my first perspective of seeing them this way. Yeah, those are in deep. Those are in deep, muddy water. Yeah, look at that. That one right there. It's just that's a lot of water coming through that car. That car's going to be there for a little while. Wow. Wow. I don't see any. Do you see any emergency vehicles out here on Dillard at this point? I'm not seeing any from my perspective. Oh, okay. It's interesting seeing vehicles on Dillard that are coming up to they're coming up to Dillard to the close point, and then they're turning around. Yeah, JB, if you could come a little bit more to a little bit more just to the right, you'll see that on Dillard, so that's where the cars are having to turn around, but so there's no stoppage up there. Cars just saying, oh, I guess I can't get to Highway 99 from here. Yeah, so that's the dry Potter Dillard, but yeah, and eventually this would make its way, put more roads underwater farther to the south. So that's Wilton off to our right, right? And straight ahead. Okay. Why don't we go up that way? Let's go up Dillard and go up toward the Wilton area and see what's going on there, because we did get word of some levee breaches in that area, but they're so hard to tell because of the way the river is now spread out. So again, from this perspective, the Cosumnes River will be on this side of that tree line, and Deer Creek's on the far side of that tree line. But as you can see, that entire channel in between is just filled in with water, and then it's spread on well, especially on the south side. And on the south side of the Cosumnes, that's where the town of Wilton is. So as we go out Dillard Road, for those of you watching the road right in the middle of your screen right there, that's Dillard Road. So now we're heading east away from Highway 99, where that road closure is, where those cars were underwater. But we want to see now just the extent of the water that got into the homes in the Wilton area. Because we had people that were were asked to shelter in place, or some people who didn't even get home last night because of some of the road closures that were in this area. So we want to get a bird's eye view of what's happening in the Wilton area. So as you can see, there's still a lot of standing water out here. The river is supposed to be off to our left. On the north side of this our view, but there's water that's kind of seeped through a lot of areas. And like I said, they had word of a couple of breaches of the levees, but when it looks like this, it's tough to figure out where the levees actually are or were. I mean, it's also tough to tell sometimes where the river channel is. But it's generally along that tree line that's on the north side of town. So yeah, this is the Wilton area. For the most part, right now we're just seeing some water that's around homes. And because Wilton has flooded a number of times in the past from the Cosumnes River, what we end up seeing is people that either rebuild or do new construction. They do build them up a little bit higher than their surrounding terrain. So that's why we end up with a lot of homes that might have water around them, but maybe not in them. And you see a lot of examples of that here. You see water, and then you see a home. And
are they trying to snag now?
See, yeah. So far, yeah, there are lots of little channels out here for the water to run. And it was interesting when I was talking with somebody from the Cosumnes Fire earlier today. They said that his wife's family, yeah, look at that. So there's a home that has a lot of water around it. So he said his wife's family has lived out in Wilton for 50 years, and they said that there's water from this that it's in places from this one that it wasn't in '97 or any of the other flood events like in '06. So the water, it just kind of finds its own way, its own channel sometimes. So here's another example where you see water around a house. It might even be into the garage or something like that, but it's not. You're not seeing it up to the windows. So a home like this, you might have some minor damage, but it's not as if your furniture in your house. You don't have 3 feet of water in your house where you're going to have to replace drywall and all your furniture and that sort of thing. But, JB, is there a barn down there that I'm seeing that has more water in it? little bit here. Yeah, I do think the water here has probably dropped at least 6 inches or so. So it looks as though the areas that are most impacted by this are on the north side of Dillard. Yeah, that one, and then if you go up a little bit to the right, John, in the water, there's a red barn. Yeah, right in there. Yeah, that one has a little bit more water in it. Is that a horse that's sticking his head out? Horse is just trying to figure out what's going on out of here too. But that water doesn't look too deep, and as you can see, as you go to where the house is, the house doesn't have water in it, but the backyard where the barn is does. So yeah, it does look as though if you're going to have standing water on your property, there's probably a better chance of that if you're on the north side of Dillard as opposed to on the south side, although there's plenty of water out here. It doesn't look as though the damage is all that extensive. And in terms of looking for where there may have been a levee breach, if you look up, John, if we look up more or less straight away, so what I'm looking at straight ahead from my perspective, it does look as though I've seen some white buildings that look as though they're in the water a little bit more. I think, we have to come around to the right a little bit more there, JP.